Okay, I'm going to take you back to 1982. Jake Garn. Jake Garn was a Reaganite and Republican. He was a U.S. Senator from 1982, and he sponsored the Garn St. Germaine Depository Institutional Act of 1982. It was also called the Networks Guarantee Act, the Capital Assistance Act, and the Alternate Mortgage Transaction Party Act of 1982. Okay. In that act, Title III amended the 1933 Act, and it preempted a due on sale clause in mortgages, which meant that a lender could sue you just if you sold your mortgage by giving credit to somebody else. So if you had a mortgage of $100,000, your property's worth $200,000, you give a mortgage to somebody for $20,000, you wrap the loan, as we would call it. They would call it. They took away the ability of Americans to issue credit. So right now, the people that actually should be issuing credit on this are the people that have the equity in the houses, not the whole country. But anyhow, this did this. It also allowed, in Title IV, allows mortgages, transactions, which basically allows the arms. All right, guess what happens? It causes the savings and loan crisis that ensued after around the 1980s to 1990s. The Resolution Trust. Now, I knew Jake Garn when he was a mayor of Salt Lake City. In fact, he and I went to the same school, University of Utah, but he's a lot older than I am. I don't even know if he's still around, but he may be. The problem is, and I always had a problem with him on this, is that he took away the credit, allowing you as individuals to make mortgage, make a good decision. If you buy a loan at 4%, and of course they allowed this, there was another part of it. This was part of it. Every time you take away the rights of a citizen, the government takes on those rights, they mess it up because no one takes better care of your credit than yourselves. I mean, if you want to destroy your credit, that's cool. I don't care. But the government cannot take care of your credit more than you can take care of your credit. So I'm going to show you what I think needs to be done if they do this thing, and it would help a lot and they would make money, probably. Okay, the first thing, get rid of arms. All those arms that were created, they should be put back to the original terms, because the people that made those payments originally could make them. I do not believe that they went in there, maybe one or two of you went in there with the idea, but I cannot believe that you wouldn't make your first payment on your house. I just don't believe that people are that naive, that stupid, or anything. So, you get rid of the arms. That way, you will not have this ratcheting interest rate that people are speculating on how long you stay in the homes in a financial market that sells those things and makes a profit by the amount of interest they get out of people. Their home is their home. It's security. But when you sit there and make it into a commodity like they're doing now, it hurts everyone because the commodities go up and down. And it's a necessity, not a commodity. So you get rid of arms altogether that were initiated in the Garn-Germaine Act of 1982. Okay, second, allow sellers to create credit with a second deed of trust or mortgages. For instance, somebody has a $100,000 deed of trust. They have a house that's worth $200,000. They say to somebody, if you give me $10,000 down, which is 10% to them, they might be happy with that, I will loan you $90,000. You assume the first. government-sponsored loan, GSL. That's what we'll call it. Here's the down. Here's the second, which is the SSL, seller-sponsored loan, for better reasons. It can't be an ARM based on rule number 1. It's got the down payment in there. This wipes out the 1982 prohibiting of deeds of trust, of encumbering deeds of trust. Actually, my hand's in the way. So anyhow, that's what you need to do. You allow that, and then you got these people creating the capital. These people are taking the risk. They might say, okay, you're only getting me 1% at the discount window, or whatever, 2% for the bond, and maybe up to 4%. But he might say, okay, tell you what, I'll ask for 6%. Now his danger is that he's going to be stuck with that for 6% for 30 years, and that may not be. But there are people out there that will buy these. After I put this up, I'll put rule number 3. Okay, only the first deed of trust of the government-secured loan can foreclose. That's in this case. However, thinking about it, any first deed of trust. But you have to be in first position. That makes it so these credit card issuers, the student loans, everybody on a second deed of trust, which let's say you had $200,000 house and you had $100,000 first, and then you went and borrowed $20,000 on a second for student loans. They couldn't come in and wipe out that. Now this thing could build interest. You could pay it at when you sold it or whatever, but you wouldn't be allowed to foreclose on that. Only the first could foreclose, and that's so we have no arms. We allow the sellers to extend. We have no arms to allow the sellers to extend the credit, and only the first deeds of trust can foreclose. Therefore, there is no incentive for anybody ever to make loans again to help somebody to get into a property, or loan money to them to either take their house back or anything other than a credit-worthy person. So they know that. And fourth, at this time, only original terms enforceable. And that's only the original terms of the original deed of trust are enforceable. So that makes it so that you go back to your original terms. If the ARM is on there, that just kind of gets wiped out. Some investors make it, some investors don't. That's just the way it is. But you got to pull yourself out by using the credit of the sellers. You cannot let people lose their homes based on seconds. You need to get rid of ARMs so that there's no speculators in the market on basically on how long a person is going to be in their home. And only original terms of any loan are enforceable. I think if you do that, you can probably get yourself out of this crisis, and you'll be using the people that are going to get the money. They will be happy to get 4, 5, 6, 7, maybe even 8% on their second. But never let them have such a second that they can foreclose on a first.